How Michael Jackson destroyed Eminem? Have you ever thought about what would happen if the king of pop and the rap god went head-to-head? This video breaks down the surprising and strategic fight between Michael Jackson and Eminem. It shows how Jackson's smart move had unintended effects on Eminem's career. Are you ready to learn more about this interesting story? Did Jackson really destroy Eminem? If so, how did he do it? Find out what really happened in this famous fight. Michael Jackson, known as the king of pop, and Eminem, known as the irreverent and unfiltered rap god, were two of the biggest names in music at the start of the 2000s. At first, the thought of a fight between the two may not seem likely, but their paths did cross in a way that will forever be remembered in pop culture history. But this fight wasn't fought with fists or even words spoken face-to-face. Instead, it was fought through songs, music videos, and a clever business move that showed how smart Michael Jackson was as both an artist and a businessman. The start, Eminem's provocation. Release of Eminem's song, Just Lose It, in 2004 was the start of the fight. The song and music video that went with it were meant to poke fun at Michael Jackson. Eminem is known for his biting satire and readiness to make fun of anyone or anything in pop culture. Some of the controversial things that were talked about in the video were Jackson's changing skin color, the famous time that his hair caught fire in a Pepsi ad, and the child molestation claims that have followed him around for years. As usual for Eminem, he didn't hold back when making fun of Jackson. It was shown in the film that Jackson's nose fell off and that he dangled his baby son blanket over a hotel balcony in Berlin, which made headlines all over the world in 2002. In Eminem's comedic style, these scenes were meant to be funny, but for many people, they went too far. Michael Jackson was known for being strong and able to deal with criticism, but this time things were different. The Just Lose It video got to the heart of Jackson's personal problems and the way people saw him, which was getting worse because of his ongoing legal fights and close media attention. This attack was different from the others because it was too personal and too public to ignore. Jackson's answer: surrender and plan. At first, Michael Jackson didn't want to reply to Eminem's joke in public. He instead let the people and his friends speak for him. A lot of people in the entertainment business, like Steve Harvey, spoke out against Eminem's attack on Jackson. Eminem has lost his ghetto pass. Harvey famously said, "We need the pass back." Jackson's fans and supporters came together to back him, angry at what they saw as an unfair and hurtful attack on a man who was already getting a lot of attention from the public. Jackson didn't say anything in public, but behind the scenes he was planning a move that would show how powerful he is as both an artist and a businessman. Instead of getting into a public fight of words with Eminem, Jackson planned to target him where it would hurt him the most: his money. The power move: getting Eminem's albums. Before you can understand how smart Michael Jackson's answer was, you need to know how the music business works. Michael Jackson wasn't just an artist at the time. He was also a smart businessman who had a lot of money invested in the music recording business. Jackson bought the ATV Music Publishing catalog for $47.5 million in 1985, which was one of the best deals in the history of music. The rights to most of the Beatles songs were in this catalog, along with other songs. This deal later became a part of Sony/ATV, which is one of the biggest music copyright companies in the world. Jackson owns a 50% share of this company. Michael Jackson bought the rights to Eminem's back stock through his share in Sony/ATV. This showed how smart he was as a businessman and how he could get back at someone without saying a word. This meant that Jackson would make money every time Eminem's music was played, sold, or used for business purposes. Jackson did a great thing by taking control of Eminem's work's future earnings. Eminem may have won the fight with his controversial video, but Jackson won the war. This wasn't just about making money, it was also about having power and direction. Eminem had built his career on being a rebellious and independent artist. Now, one of the people he had been after in the music business had done the opposite and turned the tables on him. Jackson had a huge impact on music in a way that was both subtle and devastatingly effective, even though he never put out a diss track or made a public comment. After the event, there was a lesson in class and power. The act of getting Eminem's catalog was a quiet but powerful act of payback. It showed how different the two artists were, not only in their songs but also in how they dealt with problems. Eminem's strength was that he could stir up trouble, and he used his razor-sharp wit to take down his opponents. Jackson showed, on the other hand, that sometimes the best reaction is not a counterattack in the same way, but a strategic move that shows how much power and control you have. The end of this fight told us a lot. Even though Eminem was still having a successful career, the fact that Jackson owned the record company cast a big shadow over it. The song served as a warning that the people in charge of the business end of the music business often have more power than the artists themselves. Michael Jackson's move showed how important it is to know how the music business works and how artistic genius and business sense can work together to leave a lasting impact. At the time, Jackson's purchase of Eminem's catalog wasn't widely known, and it didn't get as much media attention as their first fight. But for people in the business, it was a moment that showed how brilliant Michael Jackson was. He improved a situation where people were making fun of him and made it better for himself. He did this not by fighting back in public, but by making a smart business choice. The legacy, honor, and understanding. Both singers would go on to build strong careers in the music business years after the fight. Eminem is still one of the most important rappers of all time, known for his powerful lyrics and willingness to break rules. People still think of Michael Jackson as one of the best artists the world has ever seen, even though his later years were full of scandals. He had a huge impact on dance, music, and pop culture in general. The fight between Michael Jackson and Eminem is an interesting example of how two very different artists dealt with disagreements. The attitude that Eminem had was direct, rude, and in your face, just like the hip-hop society he came from. Jackson's answer, on the other hand, was calm, planned, and based on his deep knowledge of the music business. The event also serves as a warning of how complicated public personas can be. Eminem's jokes about Jackson were based on how people saw him after years of public debate and close attention from the media. But Jackson's answer showed a smart businessman who knew how to protect his own interests and use his power in a way that was both respectful and devastatingly successful. This was a side of him that wasn't often shown in the media. Michael Jackson's reaction to Eminem's insult wasn't just about defending his honor or making things right in the end. It was meant to show that in the entertainment business, real power often lies below the surface, in the choices made in boardrooms and behind closed doors, rather than in front of the camera. Jackson was incredibly smart as both an artist and a businessman. He could turn a personal attack into a strategy win. The art of war in the music industry. The fight between Eminem and Michael Jackson is an interesting story about how disagreements are handled in the music business. It shows the variety of reactions artists can have to being provoked and how important it is to understand how the business side of the industry works. Jackson's choice to buy Eminem's catalog was a great example of how to think strategically, and it also served as a lesson that revenge tastes best when it's served cold. Michael Jackson's response wasn't just an attempt to get back at Eminem, it was also an attempt to show that he was the best in a field where he had spent decades building a huge company. Eminem may have won the moment with his biting humor, but Jackson won in the long run by making sure he would be remembered for his work and money. Not only is it an important part of music history, but it's also a lesson in how to use power and control in the entertainment business. If you've enjoyed diving into this epic clash, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into the most intriguing stories in music history.